Hi, and welcome to the fourth Ask the Experts webinar. In today's session, we'll be covering the topic of taking back your back office in order to improve business processes and heighten the customer's experience. Please note that I'll be recording and posting both the slides and the recorded session following the meeting. I'll be making it on demand as well. For everyone which is on the call, I will be muting this during the session. And also, due to the large scope of possible questions to be asked, I will ask you to email or submit them now, and I'll answer back after this session is completed. Okay, so let's dive into this. Most likely, you've attended this webcast because your back office is restricting you from growing your software business, or worse, creating major issues with the day-to-day procedures associated with activation, delivery, and overall management of your software. Today, we will validate that your current back office pains are universally felt by most of your peers, as well as elaborate on how to move past these issues. Using best practices in the industry and the customer use case, we will address any concerns you have with changing your back office structure while providing you with the next steps towards implementation. Finally, you'll learn of all the benefits and rewards that can be achieved by simply incorporating an entitlement management system. Let's start at the beginning. In my experience, there are several things that attribute to the steady decline of an organization's back office. It's usually something that happens over time, caused by disparate systems that are unable to communicate to one another. Every organization has its own set of processes and procedures, but those in need of a more streamlined back office typically share the same set of characteristics. See if any of these sound familiar. Number one, you've undergone acquisitions. Overnight, this introduced many different products, technologies, and license models to the organization, leaving companies with the challenge of integrating many different licensing systems into their operations and fulfillment processes. Number two, a diverse product line using multiple licensing technologies. This is where you're trying to cater to new market segments, or maybe looking to move some of your products into maybe a cloud model. You have complex licensing requirements. By that, I mean customers expect to consume software in the way that serves best their needs, perhaps as a pay-per-use model, and you as an ISV need to cater to this growing demand. Fourthly, you require integration with your existing enterprise applications. And by this, it's just simply adding another system to the back office that may just basically trigger a complete collapse of it, or make you look at basically reorganize everything again. The common enterprise licensing infrastructure. A strong connection between the system that generates and manages your software licensing, entitlements, and back office is a vital part of any successful licensing solution and can provide valuable insight about your customers. Without connecting these systems, tedious manual work is necessary to associate customers, orders, and fulfillment information with their respective license entitlements. To further emphasize the influence your back office has on your entire company's offering, let's break down the process step by step. Here is an example of a typical licensing infrastructure that we see from companies seeking our assistance. Number one, the order is placed in the ERP and flows into the entitlement database. Customer data is kept in a separate database. Number two, basically the contact on the sales order receives the email instructing them how to fulfill their license keys. And depending on the product ordered, the user sends an email to customer service and or fills out a web form to request the keys. Note that a customer ordering multiple products can sometimes receive two totally different sets of instructions for obtaining these keys. Step four, customer service fields the request and uses multiple tools to generate the keys, depending on the product. Two of the calls can run on the customer service rep's desktop with no logging of this information whatsoever. One tool can write to a standalone database and obtain the license. The other tool requires the rep to remotely log into a Solaris machine or any other machine as well, located in a remote office of an acquired company. As you can see, it's already looking a little bit cumbersome. And step five, the customer service rep will then send the user an email with the license keys in multiple formats. This is because it's different licensing solutions being used. Okay, you can now see that there are several problems in this manual process. The first is poor customer experience. Because there's not one process for activation and delivery, order and activation delivery processes are varying. So this can create confusion and is also subject to many errors. The second thing which we can see on here is that you cannot offer flexible packaging of licenses. Engineering has to typically build several versions of the same product because there's no way for them to leverage the product to reconfigure several versions. Think of all the part numbers which are required. And this also basically causes confusion for the customers because you're unable to accommodate special requests which are being asked for. Thirdly, it's costly to support and maintain all licensing-related processes and inquiries. Customer service has to update multiple systems as well as ensure the customer receives the proper download, whilst IT also has to maintain all of these systems. Fourthly, you have poor visibility. Minimal data is being obtained from the customer, and the data that is there is dispersed between your CRM and ERP systems. Therefore, there is no way to associate what's being purchased versus what is being used. How many of your customers are actually being compliant? It's one of those questions which you might want to ask. And then lastly, you're unable to recognize revenue quickly, mainly because overall maintaining these systems and managing all of the processes is slow and costly. Getting paid relies on time frame between order and the delivery of the products. To reiterate, a dysfunctional back office creates the following challenges: poor customer experience, unable to recognize revenue accurately, unable to separate product functionality with feature-based licensing, costly to support and maintain all licensing-related processes and inquiries, and poor visibility. So how can you start replacing manual processes with an automated, user-friendly experience? There is one solution that can address all of these challenges: SafeNet's licensing entitlement management system, Sentinel EMS. Sentinel EMS can centrally manage disparate licensing technologies by integrating directly with your ERP and CRM systems. It can also streamline manual tasks associated with your licensing lifecycle by using automated fulfillment, activation, and management processes. It will also provide you with increased visibility for customers, partners, and distributors with vendor and end-user portals. Lastly, it can provide customizable license tracking and reporting for greater business intelligence. As a standard feature, Sentinel EMS is designed to integrate easily with all of the most common CRM and ERP systems, such as Oracle, SAP, and Salesforce. Integration provides automatic synchronization of your customers, contacts, and product definitions between Sentinel EMS and your ERP. This makes it virtually seamless to generate licensing entitlements from within your actual ERP system. Once integrated into your CRM, you can also start associating contacts with these software entitlements and activations as well. So watch how Sentinel EMS can transform this troubled back office. Sentinel EMS connects to the CRM, ERP, and licensing tools. Now all customer licensing-related data can flow in and out of EMS. Once the back office systems are communicating, EMS automates all licensing and management functions, therefore allowing customer service to go back to their core area of focus, which is assisting customers and not fulfilling licenses. Customers appreciate the easy and streamlined process for obtaining products and licenses as well. Since everything now flows from EMS, the system can easily track usage and create specialized reports. So, how do you know EMS will work for you? Perhaps your licensing infrastructure is a little bit different. Later in this presentation, I'll address the top 4 capabilities or aspects that every licensing process needs in order to be successful, regardless of licensing infrastructure. But first, let's look at one more back-office licensing example. Opsview, a company specializing in network and systems monitoring. Opsview wanted to differentiate their offering with a tiered product packaging structure featuring add-on modules. For example, they wanted to have Bronze Edition, Silver, and Gold. Another requirement was to speed up the fulfillment process by automating the delivery of software licenses from web purchase through to product activation. thus improving customer experience. Lastly, they wanted to protect their IP and secure the software so that customers basically only use what they've purchased. Although securing their software was the priority for Opsview, software protection is not necessary in order to use Sentinel EMS. Sentinel EMS is technology agnostic, so whether you're using third-party enforcement, a homegrown solution, or nothing at all, EMS will integrate into any system. In this instance, the company is using Sentinel RMS as its enforcement piece, alongside Sentinel EMS for its back office. The organization is now able to create one executable using Sentinel EMS to define and configure it in different ways in order to create new offerings, all without having to do any re-engineering of the software code. Using EMS, Opsview achieved the following: an end-to-end integration of business systems from Salesforce through to EMS, fast integration. It was a 5-month implementation from solution design workshop to go live, multiple product deliverables from one single product core, and automated license delivery. As per Rob May, in the first quarter after releasing with Sentinel licensing, there was a 55% increase in organic revenue growth compared to the same quarter previous year, mostly contributed to the new licensing. So, as an overall overview of EMS, EMS will help you overcome the following challenges. It helps improve customer experience. It's basically easier and faster to fulfill. It allows self-servicing and then also more licensing options. Maximize revenue. Allows you to add new product modules. You can better target the features. And you can also add different licensing models as well, which can be customized to each particular end user that you have, such as time-limited licensing and trialware. Cost savings. There will be immense cost savings with this, mainly due to replacing of manual processes with automation. You can recoup money through the use of proper regulation and access levels through renewal process as well. Lastly, it will give an improved product offering. Essentially, you can give a flexible range of products, a greater insight as well into other package options which are available to the customer through reporting. Now that we have addressed how to clean up your back office with Sentinel EMS, let's now shift our focus towards what can be achieved once this centralized tool is in place. Introducing the top 4 aspects of an effective and successful licensing process. Number 1 is automation. Number 2 is versatility and flexibility. Number 3 is transparency. And lastly, enablement. Let's dive a little deeper into these concepts. So, if EMS is the engine of the back office, then automation is the fuel required to ignite the licensing process and keep it moving. Entitlement generation is the first step and a key component of this entire automated workflow. The first step, which you're going to be looking at, is the creation of the entitlement within EMS. Once EMS is integrated with the ERP system, entitlements can be automatically generated upon order placement. The entitlement contains customer and distributor details, line items ordered, with quantities and perhaps end dates. For each entitlement, EMS creates a unique EID, or entitlement ID, that identifies that particular order. The entitlement ID is a cryptic string, which is also known as the activation code. And step 2. This is going to be the license activation. The end user will activate the license by supplying EMS with a few key pieces of information. These are typically the EID, or activation code, the product ID, and the fingerprint of the machine to which the software will be locked. EMS then generates a license specific to that fingerprint and delivers the license to the end user in various forms. Now, depending on the ISV needs, automation of the license activation process can be done at 2 different levels. The first being based on an email notification that goes to the end user and prompts them to go to a licensing portal web page to enter the activation code and locking details. EMS will then generate and return the license, which the user can download and install with the application. Or, for a more enhanced customer experience, activation details can be entered during the installation process using EMS APIs the ISV can build automatic activation into their application. Essentially, the application calls EMS, transmits the required locking details, EID and product ID, then returns the license. Now with an automated license delivery process, the customer experience is greatly improved and revenue can be recognized more quickly. After customers are settled and using your product, you still need to maintain the relationship by providing an open source of communication. Sentinel EMS allows you to send alerts to your customer base for a multitude of different items, such as product notifications, where you can define and send personalized notifications to a pre-selected set of users based upon entitlement products. This allows you to improve communication, to keep your customers abreast of any updates and general information about their products. Secondly, it will help reduce support calls. If you can immediately notify customers when hotfixes or patches are necessary, it will also help avoid any service disruptions. Finally, you can increase revenue. Upsell to your current customers by targeting them with special promotions. With renewal notifications, you can automate the CAN notifications about expiring entitlements. Again, this will help you increase renewal rates by scheduling a series of reminders to those nearing their expiration dates. It will help improve satisfaction and reduce churn, essentially by preventing accidental disruption of service. Lastly, you can improve the cash flow. By initiating renewals, this will help expedite the payment for the services that you have. Okay, the next concept is product versatility. You need to be able to separate functionality from the actual features that you are trying to license. Simply put, how do you, as the ISV, license and offer your products without involving and re-involving your engineering teams? As demonstrated earlier in our customer use case, Sentinel EMS is able to give your customers access and usage rights to specific features of the product. With one code base, you can start looking at one product as a whole group of features that can be broken down either into multiple products or multiple features. With Sentinel EMS, you can create a product containing those requested features and then create a related part number back in the ERP system. When an end user places an order, they get the entire product, but the licensing only allows access to those features which they have actually paid for. Now that you're able to look at products from a feature view, what else can you do? Our second step relates to the versatility of your backend, i.e., how do you handle multiple packages, bundles, business models, and how do you bill accordingly? No one likes to pay more for something they don't need or are willing to use. Sentinel EMS allows you to offer a large variety of packages and bundles so that you can charge at varying price points. For example, you can create an intro, student, and enterprise version of the same product, each with different bundles associated to it to reflect the different pricing points. And in our final step, license model flexibility takes into consideration that some customers may want the same features in their package, but want to consume and pay for it differently. You, as the ISV, are expected to offer the same product, but bundled differently. For example, some customers may want seat-based licensing, some may want concurrency, some may even have a volume transaction. Whatever it is, you have to provide that extra flexibility to give you that edge in your particular offering. Another consideration you may also have is to adjust the security level or policy based upon your relationship with that customer. For example, a VIP customer or someone you trust fully, you might want to allow a softer, less restrictive licensing enforcement. For other relationships where you believe piracy exists, you may want to adjust that policy to one which is slightly tougher. And now we're going to look at the third concept, which is going to be transparency. Your organization, as well as its end users, require access to relevant account data for several reasons. The end users want to know, am I in compliance? Have I bought too many licenses, i.e. more than I actually need? Or have I gone over the quantity I initially purchased and now I'm not in compliance? The common perception is that I have overpaid and I am being ripped off. In reality, this is often the contrary. Aside from just the compliance standpoint, You as the ISV will need further visibility into the following: what's being purchased versus what's being used? Are there certain features of my product not being accessed at all? What are the top features across all of my products, and how can I leverage this? Finally, you may also want to find out which licenses are about to expire. Sentinel EMS provides a complete snapshot of all usage throughout the entire licensing lifecycle. There are 3 vital features that provide the real-time and historical data necessary to keep customers happy and move your business forward. End-user data collection. You can require end users to complete a fully customizable registration form prior to the product activation. This ensures you have accurate data moving forward to begin tracking and reporting effectively. Compliance reporting. You can improve the customer experience with straightforward entitlement tracking and reporting tools that keep end users from inadvertently exceeding paid licensing usage, whilst ensuring you get paid accordingly. Business intelligence. Leverage the system to identify, test, and implement new and more effective packaging, pricing, and distribution models in order to reach new markets and maximize revenue. Adding automation, visibility, flexibility, and transparency into your licensing scheme will greatly improve your offering. However, you will need a way to bring it all together. This is where our final concept of enablement comes into play. Simply put, your end users, they must be able to easily monitor and maintain their license without having to contact support. ISVs need a centralized place where all departments can go to manage and maintain these end user accounts. Channel partners, well, they need a way to distribute, manage entitlements, and generate licenses on their customers' behalf. Sentinel EMS offers a centralized management interface for employees, partners, and end users. Through the use of vendor, channel, and end user portals, the following can be achieved. End user self-service portal. The end user portal is completely disconnected from the ISV. The information in this dashboard provides them access to all of the features we discussed earlier today, such as web-based entitlement activation, optional user registration, end user self-service, and comprehensive tracking and reporting. Essentially various ways to slice and dice data, as well as monitoring or self-audit. Next, we have role-based vendor portal. This is basically easy to create, implement, and manage users, roles, and privileges. This will enable customer service, sales, marketing, fulfillment, and product management employees to leverage a single system to improve customer relations and product lifecycle management. Essentially, you can define new product pricing and packaging models, modify business models without engineering, generate and activate entitlements, and track and report on product service licenses and entitlement creation, activation, and usage. Now, part of that, or the third part which we've got as well, is channel partner portal. Channel partners can be granted the same visibility into the details of their customer accounts as the ISVs. Not only that, they can order bulk entitlements and use the channel portal to distribute them to their end customers as needed. Not only that, they can activate and manage those entitlements and licenses on their customers' behalf. So right now, I'd just like to take some time to highlight a few of the advanced features that our Sentinel EMS customer portal offers. Moving forward, you'll need a way to deliver product downloads, updates, and patches to your end users. EMS's notification feature will inform customers that these items are available, but you'll need to place or actually house those files in a separate system. Here's how the portal works together to achieve this. Within the vendor portal, you can associate relevant downloads to products. This provides an easy way to segment and deliver downloads whilst ensuring that they are only accessible to relevant users. Step 2, end users simply log into the customer portal to download updates to their software. The system also validates the end user to ensure the software download follows export compliance. Now, If there is anything else which you need to do custom on top of this, send me an email and we can definitely go through that. All right, so I've mentioned a few times throughout the presentation that our customer portal also serves the needs of your distributors and channel partners. Creating bulk entitlements within the vendor portal really addresses this market. Essentially, you can simplify the fulfillment process for your distributors by enabling channel end users to do their own license activations. Sentinel EMS allows you to create a large batch of your software entitlements prior to sale, then by leveraging activation data, you can bill their user accordingly. The last feature I'll cover today is our LDAP authentication to Active Directory. EMS can be configured for independent user management and authentication, or to use Active Directory credentials for authentication and roles for authorization. This bonus feature helps to simplify internal user administrative tasks by streamlining user administration. You can save time and simplify the process by managing users in one directory. You can improve employee satisfaction and alleviate forgotten passwords by providing one set of login credentials among all corporate and network resources. Okay, I hope today's session has given you a nice overview on how Sentinel EMS can help streamline your back office and improve your licensing process. Before concluding, I'd like to just reiterate some key takeaways. 1. You'll need to streamline your back office in order to improve your current licensing process. Number 2, Sentinel EMS easily integrates into all licensing technologies. Thirdly, every successful licensing solution provides automation, versatility, flexibility, transparency, and enablement. And lastly, working together, these 4 aspects can achieve a top-class customer experience while saving internal time and resources. Okay, well, thank you for attending the 4th Ask the Experts webinar on taking back your back office in order to improve business processes and heighten the customer experience. Should you have any additional questions or would like any follow-ups or any examples which I've given today made specific for you, please send me an email to david.reed@safenet-inc.com. Okay, everyone, thanks a lot.